August 27th, 2026. I am Flowers. I am going to speak about the names that I have been meditating with. So, just a moment, please. Dolly, please close this door. Jazakallah khair. So, this has been a very eventful couple of weeks on social media. And there have been a few people that have been challenging me. So I was already prompted to begin meditating with some of these names. And the other day, I posted a video titled, "I'm Not Going to Debate You." On that video, there were a few comments. Among the comments, there was a inquiry about what it was for me to read cartomancy as a Catholic Muslim. That actually provoked my wonderment. And so when they were inquiring about that, I wasn't sure who they were because I haven't been reading cartomancy for quite a while. And the channel that I was reading cartomancy on is not a channel that has been active for a while now. So, nonetheless, my cards are my paintings. Those are my cards. And just to be clear, when I began reading cards, it was with standard cards. Also, later, after reading cards for a while, a specific person, assured me that so long as I was reading cards for him, that I didn't have to really want for anything. So I would read cards for the gentleman. He was always a gentleman towards me. He was quite the beast towards many others. Nonetheless, he did request that I read the tarot because he was familiar with the tarot. I began to read the tarot so that he was familiar with the symbols. And we would talk, and eventually he became Muslim. Nonetheless, so when I was reading cards on my other channel, that was not new. It was just new that I was reading cards online. So, nonetheless, when I was on that channel, there were so many people trolling me. There were so many people that were not So eventually I actually just said on many occasions, while people are going to keep trolling me, I'm not going to keep reading cards. And I would often share that I did not have to read cards online. And I just don't believe that people were aware of that truth. And so I was online, and this was after being trolled for so long. And I would also reiterate to people, I'm not online to read cards. I'm online for another reason. I'm reading cards to maintain a valid channel. So I was online, and a character in the chat trolled me again. And I was reading cards right then. And I just said, I told you. And that was it. And I did not read cards since. I did not read the tarot since. So my paintings are my cards. I've also written other cards. I just don't share much of this online. In fact, I don't share much of this offline either. So nonetheless, that is the answer to the question in the comments. Also, there was another comment from the person that had been challenging me to debate them. Now, I wasn't going to debate them, nor am I going to debate them. So later, when I was reading the comments again, when I was reading the comments, the names of the commenters were symbolically coupled with the situation that I had been experiencing. And it was as though the devil came to challenge me spiritually. Then all of the comments that people had been making on their channels about me, because they kept putting my name on their channel. And of course, I wasn't going to validate any of that. So what I did, rather, is I acknowledged that they were doing their best to humiliate me. So I began to invoke Almuvilu, the humiliator. Then another channel would make their comments, their posts about me. And it was as though they were being deceitful. So then I began to invoke the Al-Makir, the Al-Makir the the one who outsmarts the outsmarters. Then there was another mention where people were in their comments referring to me as not being a person of integrity. And that was very distressful to read about. And so I began to invoke Adar, the distresser. Then there was there was a post. Actually, there were a couple of posts on people's channels where they were insulting me for not agreeing to debate them. So they were they were just being very just almost doing their best to try and provoke me. So then it inspired me, because once I began to zikr al-mutakabir, al-muzilu, ad-dar, al-makir, repeatedly, because the people that were bullying me online, I have no idea who they are. I have no power. So I invoke the all-powerful. Then when I was going to have a nap, that's when I was feeling like, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm just going to paint. And when I began to paint and write, the paintings were very, very harsh. They were very robust, very very pronounced. So that was discouraging. However, it was the reflection of what was being shown to me. So I was mirroring that. Then to call those names of Great Spirit, Source Creator, of all the evil, all the good, all the bitter, all the sweet. My writings were very reflective of the response the spiritual response. So the first writing, and I can share that with you. That showed itself. This is Adar. So Adar. And this is the black white. The entire bullying that I was experiencing was because I wouldn't validate people that wanted me to validate them, because for whatever the reason, they have been taking issue with people of black-white ancestry. So the black-white Adar, it was very stern. And Adar is, this is the distressor. Now, I'm going to be honest. Usually when I recite, these are not names that I recite together. So it was spiritually heavy for me to recite these names together. Likewise, the experience that these strangers online were providing was absolutely horrible. Nonetheless, I'm sharing some of the paintings. I probably painted a couple dozen. Yesterday, the cards were completed. So these are only going to be a few, and these are going to be Al Modelo. Al Modelo is the humiliator. Al Mutakabir. Al Mutakabir is the perfectly perfect. So Al Mutakabir, being the perfectly perfect, is the only source creator of perfection. Therefore is the only that has the right to arrogance. Here is Al-Makir. Al-Makir is the planner. The planner that triumphs any plans that the choosers of deception plan. Those plans, though though brilliant many are, they have a beginning. They have a point of achievement. Al-Makir is the best planner because Al-Makir is also Al-Awwal Al-Akhir, the first, the last. Al-Khaliq, the creator of all that exists. Here's Ad-Dar. Ad-Dar, the distresser. Because the people were doing their best to invalidate me because of post-1776 American history. Yeah. Not sure what all their reason for that is. So, yeah, their debate is not with me. Their debate is probably going to be with, the American population in 1776. So yeah, it was kind of wild. Nonetheless, yeah, that's what was going on. So I'm going to have my black coffee with white cream. And just get to the chores. So I might not make this a public video. I might just review and write about it all. So I was like, they were just totally tripping out. And it's like, it's kind of like giving me the impression, almost like, when, like I have a couple of youngsters in their 30s. And what's funny is, people, they have their different personalities, and that's cool. That's cool. I have a youngster who, when they get upset and they don't get to be right, and they're very educated. They have their master's degree. And in fact, I enrolled them in college when they were a couple of years before they were 18. And when they don't get to be right, they just, mom this, mom that, mom, and they just go on, and then, they get off the phone, and, then they put me on block. And I don't know when they put me on block because, of course, I don't call them, right? Not when they get off the phone like that. And they put me on block, and then they text me to let me know that I'm on block. Okay, and all that because they don't get to be right. And they have gone like so long without talking to me, depending on the situation, because this is their pattern of behavior. This is their behavioral pattern. It always has been. And, whenever a situation goes on, they'll call a sibling. And after speaking to the sibling, it's like, Mom, so-and-so is calling. That's good. Answer. Because they have a situation. They wouldn't be calling unless they had a situation, unless they were in a jam, right? So, the sibling answers. And after a while, they're like, how's Mom? Oh, Mom's there? Can you put Mom on the phone? And it's like, and then that's how they usually start, getting their balance again. And, and then I have another that just like totally, just total avoidance, and they just have like, their spouse communicate with me. It's like, it's kind of funny because, it's just wild. So like, it's kind of like, that's why I wasn't going to debate, because when people are just online and they're obviously a next generation from me. I'm Generation X. And then they're pouting because they don't get to be right. And they're just, going on and on. And I'm like, I'm gonna go have a nap. And yeah. So that's why I was like, no. I don't just, go for the whole pouty thing. And it's kind of wild because, there's so many mature people online. And, mature people, it's kind of wild because they already are aware of how to, just how to just communicate. They're not going to, they're like a mature man is not going to approach me with this, facade of being better. Like, yeah, I have, this degree, and I'm, I speak these languages, and, this is, that's not how it goes, not offline, not in this world, like offline people they just speak, It's wild because like, just the other day, literally just the other day, I was outside and a man, he just walked up and he said, hey, are you really from Georgia? I said, yes, sir, I am. Is that all right with you? And he was like, yeah, I'm from, in the South. And we just started talking, a white man. And we were just chatting for probably a good hour, And in fact, just the other day, I was in the grocery store, and I was pushing my basket, and this man, a basket came around as we were going to collide basically in the grocery store. And so he stopped abruptly, I stopped, And he was very apologetic. And when I looked at him, I said, "Whoa, you got a nice beard there, sir." And he was like, "Oh, thank you." And he did. It was like he had like this real, it was just this very silver fox type of beard. And he was just so flattered. And we actually were just standing there in the grocery store just talking. And so after that, it was kind of wild. I was, I went to go get the other things, and I was on the other side of the store. So as I was walking, he comes around again. This is the other side of the store, and he stops and he goes, I don't, I'm friendly. I don't usually just talk to people in the store like this. I said, "It's good, you're good. You have a nice conversation, And I said, it's a nice beard too. I complimented his beard again, and he was like, "Yeah, I said, "Do you keep it braided when you're at home?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "I keep it braided when I'm on my bike." I was like, "You ride a bike?" So he was like, telling me about his motorcycle and everything. And, the moment where we're just kind of like, because we're obviously, similar age. And he was like, just kind of paused for a moment. And I paused. I said, "I'm not sure, do I want potato or corn chips?" And he was like, I said, I came here to get corn chips and potato chips." And he was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "It's a small town. I'm sure I'll see you around, And that's just kind of like how it goes offline. So I'm not really sure what's going on online. And I tell you, these couple of gentlemen that I just recently had very pleasant talks with, I would debate both of them. In fact, I would debate both of them together. And um, right or wrong, just on the strength that they were just mature, about their communication. And it's kind of wild, like how these people on the internet have been lately. It's like just the vulgar insults, and it's actually like it's to me, it was weird, it was creepy, it was bizarre, it was strange. And I had to like recluse and invoke the names of God because I was like, whoa, it's like I get up and then there's a notification and they're like posting, these very insulting posts on their channel. And then, I go through the day and then another notification, and then I have a nap, and then I get up, and then it's like, just the video. And then they got to where they stopped saying my name, and then we're just like, oh, this lady, the Muslim lady. And I was like, okay. So first you don't stop saying my name in the most derogatory sense. And then now it's, the religion identification. And I was like, okay, how about I don't be a Christian? How about I don't be a Muslim? You just want me to just, what? be a witch. What do you want? Mm. And I was like, I have to write, and just, yeah. So maybe I can do like a video about these. I'm so happy. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so humble. I love God. I fear God. I'm so grateful for God. I swear to God. Wallahi, wallahi. Like, yeah. So I'm gonna get off of here and God, there's so much to do. You know those days when there's so much to do? You just drink coffee like it's water. Like, it's probably why I'm always dehydrated. It's cool. I don't have to impress people. Yeah, it was wild because like these paintings were so legit. The other thing, after I was writing, there began to be thunder. It was a beautiful, pleasant day yesterday. I love God. Oh my God, I swear to God, I love God. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Flowers.